Hello, I'm back with another build video for you, and this time I want to show you how to build Jonny Greenwood's Fender Telecaster Plus from the 90s. And they don't make this anymore, so you would have to do a custom build, and that's what this video is about. So in the 1990s, Jonny Greenwood had this guitar stolen from him, and then he purchased the exact same guitar, which we now know as Telecaster number 1. I like this guitar because of the range of tones that I can get out of it. I did a little cosplay action here by putting the same Attack number 1 sticker he put on there, but I didn't want to like fully copy Jonny Greenwood because I'm just not him and I don't want to make exactly the same sounds that Radiohead does. But what I love about this guitar is the insane range of tones that you can get from it. It has a push-pull pot here, as you can see, and what this does is this allows you to change the humbucker to so if you're in the humbucker position, with it down you have a full humbucker, with it pulled up you have a single regular Telecaster bridge pickup, single coil, and then if you put it in the middle position with the push-pull down, then you've got basically a humbucker in series, and then with outside and then neck, and then if you pull it up you have inside and neck for a humbucker, and then in the neck position it doesn't matter if this push-pull pot is engaged, it's just a neck pickup. So what I have in here are the lace sensor pickups, which is what Fender was using exclusively between like 1987 and 1995 or so, and the lace sensors, the blue in the neck sort of simulates a P90 warmth, and then the dual red in the rear is a really hot pickup. It runs at like 14.7k ohms, and it gets really distorted, but what's beautiful is with the volume knob you can really peel it back and get some super clean tones. I'm no guitar virtuoso, so this guitar video is not going to be about anything but the build. So any demos that I'm doing right now, please take it with a grain of salt. I'm actually more of sort of like a music technical nerd versus I just like doing these builds. I'm not really a virtuoso. This isn't my main job. This is just kind of like a little side gig that I do. I like to teach music. I like to build things that I've seen online. And in fact, why are you interested in this? Well, I've seen plenty of people build this guitar online and showcase it and then sell it, but they never show how to do it. And in fact, because of the route in here, you're gonna see that some people build this guitar and they end up with a weird little gap down here in the bridge area, and then you can see that I don't have that. It's all just polyurethane, which is this really hard sort of acrylic, and if you tried to really cosplay it and wear it like Jonny Greenwood's is, you would not get the same kind of wear pattern. So I didn't do that to this one. I like it just clean the way it is. It's fine. This is actually a made in Mexico Player Plus. I bought it a couple of years ago for under $1,000, and then the total build, you know, with time and parts and all that stuff, wasn't really much more expensive. So if you were to try to buy the 1990s Player Plus, you would probably spend, you know, 4 or 5k, and you don't know what kind of drama you're getting with it or whatever. So I wanted to show you how to build this. What I love about this guitar is the combo of the lace sensor pickups and just kind of how hot this one can be, combined with the volume push-pull pot, which allows you to change from series and parallel and rearrange the pickup structure in a bunch of different unique ways. I also like that Jonny Greenwood added this kill switch to it right here, which I think is really fantastic. But I think what is really the cool thing about this guitar that really allows you to get a wide range of tones, and it came with this in the 90s, is the TBX tone pot, which I have right here. This thing is fantastic. So most tone pots are just 0 to 10, right? And it kind of acts as a low pass filter. As you roll it off, it'll cut off the highs and make it a little more warm or muddy. This one has a center indent, which means that the center position is 0. If you roll back this way, you get a high pass filter, which allows the highs to come through really crisp and clean, and it cuts the lows. If you go back to center indent and then you roll to the right, or I guess this way, then you get a low pass filter and you cut off the highs. Okay, so why am I building this and why do you care? I think it came from the fact that I'm a huge Radiohead fan. I love Jonny Greenwood as a guitarist, as a musician. I think his melodies and everything he does is he's just a rock star. He's amazing. There was a statement that I read in an interview. I can't find the interview any longer, so you can just find, copies of it online. It was with the Sunday Guardian. Jonny was asked, after playing your old beaten up Fender Telecaster with Radiohead for years, you've recently been using a Gibson Les Paul. Is the shift permanent? Jonny's answer was, I don't know. Like I've been saying, guitars are like typewriters. It's technology. It's not something to be admired or worshipped. Like, a washing machine or something. It does the job. You start seeing people putting them on walls as decorations until it's just like putting a vacuum cleaner up there. That's a really bizarre thing to me. They're okay. They all sound the same. It's the brutal truth. Do we think that Jonny Greenwood is right about that? So I wanted to put it to the test. I wanted to build his #1 Telecaster that he has used for decades and ask myself, is it like a typewriter? Is it like a vacuum cleaner? What is the reason he's kept this guitar for so long? I don't agree with him, and maybe at the end of this you won't agree with him either. I think that this guitar is actually fantastic, and I think it's okay to find something aesthetically pleasing. Obviously you shouldn't worship it. It's more about the melodies and making the songs than it is about the guitar that you use. You could use a super cheap, and in fact when he bought this in the 90s, this was probably a pretty cheap guitar. So I wanted to put Jonny Greenwood's statement to the test and build this thing, and what I found, spoiler alert, TLDR, is that Jonny Greenwood had a fantastic guitar with a super wide range of tones that allows you to go from everything from like metal and rock to sort of emo to like really melodic and beautiful jazzy stuff. Again, I'm not a virtuoso, so I'm not gonna be able to demonstrate all that things, but believe me when I say that this guitar can do everything. I hope you enjoy the video. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments and I will try to answer as best as I can. Hello, I want to talk about the next build that I'm doing. I bought a made in Mexico Player Plus Fender Telecaster, and I got it really cheap, and so I decided to make some upgrades to it. I'm going to turn it into the 1990s Fender Telecaster Plus, I think it was called. It's the one that Jonny Greenwood plays. It's got lace sensor pickups, dually reds here, and then a lace blue sensor pickup here. So I've already stripped out, cut the strings off, and then I took the faceplate off, and then I took out all the wiring just to see what I was working with. Luckily, I have a big enough space here to put the lace blue sensor in. And as you can see here, I've made some markings. I'm going to have to route out this to be big enough to fit everything. And this is going to go in here, back in here, And I did buy the loaded faceplate from Lace. So this goes on here, and if I can get it to fit in there without breaking it, having some trouble. There we go. That goes there, and then I even bought the sticker that Jonny uses, so if I choose to make it a full cosplay guitar, I can. And yeah, I've got the lace sensor plate, and I'm lucky enough that when I route it, if I place it just right, you're not going to see, and I bought the correct bridge, floating bridge for this. And so if I'm lucky enough that if I route it just right, you won't see any hole anywhere, which is really great. And if you look at the picture of the Jonny Greenwood Telecaster Plus from the 90s, this is about the right spacing for everything. So I've went ahead and made my markings, and when I took it apart, I noticed a couple of problems. The first being, if you can see, they put the screw too close, and you can see that the screw is busted through the wood already. it was gonna come out eventually. So this is really poorly done from the factory in Mexico. It's otherwise a really great guitar. It looks really good. You know, only just a little ugliness on the wood right there. Oh, I've got some scratches right there. Oh. Anyway, but I like the grain pattern. The neck is really nice, feels really nice. I'm just going to basically have to fix this by, I'm going to fill it with a dowel and some wood glue and let it dry, and then I'll re-drill a new hole. The other thing I had to do was this route wasn't big enough for the new potentiometers because they're much fatter. So I didn't, it's not on the video, but I did take my Dremel and I just slightly, by like a 1/16 of an inch, made this cavity slightly bigger this way. So now everything fits. Yeah, what I'll do in these videos is I'll show you exactly how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use some double-sided wood tape to stick down, and then I bought a route template, and I'm gonna stick it to the tape so that I can use my router to route this out with my route guides. The only thing is the lace sensor pickups are just slightly bigger than this. So unfortunately, once I route it, I'm gonna have to take my Dremel and I'm gonna have to do just a little bit of extra work just to make it just right so the lace sensors will fit in there. This is a shielding paint. You can see some of the black in here. They didn't go all the way to the top. I'm going to. You can see on here where they didn't either. So once I route this out, I will be applying shielding paint everywhere. That'll help with any like EMF, noise, hum, whatever. But I'm really excited. This should be a pretty fun little project. Afterward, we'll have to solder everything together, so I'll show that process as well. Overall, I love this guitar. I've already replaced the strap locks. I bought Shaler S-locks, the strap locks. They're really great, man. They're really great. So that's pretty easy. You just unscrew the previous ones and then you screw in the new whatever. So yeah, I'm going to be doing this whole video and hope you enjoy. So I put some double-sided woodworking tape. It should not mess with the finish. And we're going to place this on the guide, router guide. And from what I've read, getting this double-sided tape off can be a little difficult, so if you're going to do this, make sure you have a little bit of a nail while you're doing it. Or you can, I guess, use probably like a knife or something, but see if you just grab the edge with your nail really carefully. Alright, I've got my coffee, but I'm going to put this away because when I route this is like a graphite paint in here. I don't think you want to be breathing that. So before I route it, I will put the coffee away and put a mask on. I think I'm good to go. Maybe I'm just slightly off, I can't tell. Let's see if I can pry this up. Oh boy, that stuff is strong, huh? I think I was just a hair off. So yeah, I want to make sure it's not crooked in any way. That's better. Okay. So yeah, always measure twice, cut once. Okay, that's on there good. I'm going to measure 3 times and cut once. I think I'm on the mark here, so that's good. I got glasses, so not very good eyesight. I feel everything's lining up really straight. Looks good. Got my N95 mask. I should probably change the cartridges soon, but it'll work for this little dust particle thing. Alternatively, you could use one of the N95 masks, COVID masks, like this, if you wanted to. One more thing I'll mention is there's these pieces called collets. and the collet fits around the bit. You'll have to read your instructions of whatever router you're using on how to do it, but the collet is going to allow this to go around the guide while the bit cuts the wood, and it doesn't cut the guide. So I've already pre-measured it and done all the work. It took good like 30 minutes to do it, and I believe I got it where I want it to be. So now I can just run this around the guide and it should be good to go. Okay, you can check your mask by going, if you can't breathe in and breathe out, then you know you got a good seal. Okay, so I've previously taken the pickups out of the little faceplate, like this, and this is going to fit in here. But as I said, this guide isn't exactly the right size, so I'm going to try to remove this without f***ing up the paint. So as I mentioned, when this goes in here, it's not going to just quite fit. So I'm going to need to Dremel off these little corners so that this will go in there. There's only the tiniest little gap right here from the original pickup route. That was the original because the original one goes at an angle. Luckily it wasn't huge. So I'm going to fill that with some wood putty, and then I have a colored marker that'll make it close to this color. So you will not be able to tell at all when I do that. And then yeah, I gotta put a toothpick in there and some wood glue and let that cure and dry, because when they routed out this piece, they, for whatever reason, put the screw too close to the route, and it should have all been slightly over, and unfortunately there's nothing I can do over here but just fix that. And then it's not going to be unsightly once it's all put together, but it is a structural weak point, and it's unfortunate because there's not really a way to fix it. It would need a whole new body, I believe. So yeah, we're almost there. And then I'll paint the inside. I'll paint the inside with the graphite paint. I'm also going to do it right here where they had a sticker. I mean, they did a really sloppy job. They didn't even come up to the top. But I'll paint all this and get it shielded properly. I'm probably going to buy some shielding foil to put on the back side of the faceplate as well. Okay, just to be safe and cautious, I'm measuring the distance from the end here to the plate as 1/8 of an inch, and then to the hole, to the edge of the hole from the corner is 1/8 of an inch as well. And I got my Dremel here again. I don't think I need hearing protection for this, but I'll definitely use my breather mask. Okay, let's see if it fits. I think I need to go a little further, but we'll see. Almost. It's very close. As you can see, it's very, very, very close. I need to just go a fraction more. I almost went too far right here. So these pickups have little rubber grommets that go on here, so that it's going to need space for that as well. Yeah. Okay. It fits. That's awesome. Okay, a couple of things. I want to fill. I broke off I measured out a toothpick in there, and then I just, broke it off like that, and I got the length that I needed. So I'm trying to figure out how to get the glue in there to not be too much of a mess. So I think what I'm gonna, because I don't want to get it all over the body, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'll get some glue. Let me get some glue on this. And I'm going to let it dry like that. Just going to clean off any excess. Okay, I've got the wood glue in there. I'm going to let that dry before I break that off so that it's in there really nice and tight, and then I can drill a new hole and it should fix that area that's all f***ed up. That should be good for that part. Now I'm going to take some wood filler, Gorilla wood filler, and then I'm going to fill this little area, and I'm going to use this as a guide or a flat surface to make a nice flat thing going on there. I actually think I even might take some wood glue and where the thing's gonna go. Well, that router thing kind of chewed up that plastic. There we go. Some of this is pretty dried, so I'm going to get the dried stuff out and get to the good wet stuff. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Now, when this dries, and I take a furniture marker that's like roughly this color, and I color that in, instead of a black little hole next to the silver, it'll be roughly the same color. I think it'll be much harder to see that hole, that gap. So we're good to go. We need to just let this dry. We need to let this dry, and we're good to go. Okay, so where are we? We glued in this little toothpick to fix this hole. I used Titebond wood glue. It's the best. And when I originally did the double-sided stick tape, it's the X-Fasten woodworking tape. Ended up getting from Amazon, and it came with 3 rolls. I don't need 3 rolls, but now I have it. And I'm using some painter's tape. This is the frog tape is what it's called. I find this to be the best painter's tape. Nothing leaks, like if you're using it for painting, nothing leaks under it, which other paints have had that problem where paint gets under, and then it comes off with no issues. And then I'm going to use, not that it matters, but I used a handheld DeWalt router, and I use this Gorilla wood filler. I like it in this format, the squeeze tube, because I used to buy the trays of it, but they would oftentimes dry out too fast. So, you know, these are good. And then I'm just using a little bit of like 320 grit sandpaper, and I've taped off the paint, or you know, the finish, and I'm gonna, this little area that I did, I'm gonna now sand it just a little bit if I can to make it smooth. I'm gonna try not to round it off or anything, but yeah, that's looking pretty good already. Just getting rid of, just trying to make it as smooth as possible, really lightly. You can even do it on the inside a little bit. Just flatten that edge, make it nice and crisp. Most of this is going to be under the bridge plate, the humbucker bridge plate, but unfortunately I've got a little area that's not as smooth as I would like it, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get that smooth. It's got a little air pocket thing, and I don't want that to be visible, so I'm just going to fill that like so, and then I'll let that dry a little bit, and then I'll sand it. But in the meantime, I've got to take this thing off, break it off carefully. And now I've got that hole filled, so I should be able to drill another hole just slightly off, and then that makes it so that there's not a hole, because the screw was poking through on the route, because they did a bad route job here. And then I brought some got my cup, my coffee. I bought some furniture touch-up markers. They're okay. I used it on my coffee table because I had some areas that were showing. So I'm going to do a little test on the inside here to see if I can get a color that's generally close to this. I don't think anything's going to be as orange as this, unfortunately. But as long as it's not just this white color, I think we're going to be good. So I think that's pretty dark. So you probably want to start with the lightest and just see how that looks. So I'm just going to make a quick little mark way down here. Wow, that's actually really good. Very close. Ha! Oh my goodness, that is really close. Okay, I think that's it. That's the one. So to remind you what I've done, I've went ahead and used some wood filler because the original route is at an angle for the single coil pickup that goes in the Telecasters. And then when I made the route for the humbucker, I've seen in other people's builds you end up with a gap here sometimes, unless you use a solid bridge plate. But I didn't want to go that route because if I could avoid it, because that's not how the original Jonny Greenwood Telecaster looks. It has the floating hardtail bridge plate, and then it has the the lace humbucker plate. And so I had just a little, I was lucky they didn't make a huge route here, so I had just a little tiny bit that's gonna peek out of the bridge plate. So that's why I used wood filler, so that I can fill this, and then hopefully with this marker, the color is just close enough, if you can see, just close enough to this that at an appreciable distance you won't be able to tell at all. So I'm going to, so instead of like a black hole or something white like this, it's just going to be a little teeniest bit of the bridge plate or the humbucker plate will be showing this. So I think without it being black or white, it's going to look, you're not even going to see it. So, and I'm going to be able to get it so close that you can barely even see a gap. This is just for me to feel like it looks as proper as possible. Yeah. Okay, this should be dry enough to just at least to sand it. So, there we go. That looks much better. Okay. So now we just peel back. Be careful not to rip any of that wood glue out. Cool, that looks good. And then as I said, I'm just going to take this. Oh, you know what? I should have left the tape on there. Like an idiot. I want to be able to color this with a marker and not have it get on the guitar. Like that. So I'm glad I did that, because otherwise that marker would be on the guitar. Sure. There. So So now you can see it, but when the plate here goes over it, there's only going to be the tiniest spot, and you're not really going to be able to see from a distance. Instead of seeing a hole, at least you'll have it's going to look good. And to drill the holes and make sure I get everything right, I've devised my genius plan of putting these toothpicks in here to hold the bridge piece in place, so that when I drill my pilot holes for the screws, I can make sure that it's lined up with the holes properly. And then I'll be drilling the holes for this too. For that, I'll probably use tape to tape it down so that it's as sturdy as possible to drill the pilot holes, because I really don't want to mess that up. I want to make sure this plate is as clean and everything's straight as possible. So we'll do that next. Alright, I've got everything lined up. I just got it lined up off camera because it took a while, and then I just put tape to kind of hold it in place. And I think everything looks great. I've triple checked. And now I'm going to drill the holes, pilot holes. But I honestly think I should have used a drill press for this, so that it can be, you want it to go straight up and down. But unfortunately I don't have a drill press right here with me. So I'm just going to do the best that I can. Everything's at the right depth. I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to clean it with this stuff. I mean, I don't know why. Martin's guitar polish. But I'm just going to clean where I'm going to put the bridge plate. What a beaut. Look at that. And look, you can barely even see that little spot. It would have just been a little black hole, but at least now I've got it somewhat colored the same color. And there's no gaps anywhere. Oh, I'm so pumped. However, my bridge is a little crooked. Alright, now I just have to drill the hole for this. I got everything installed. It looks really good. Really good. So now I just have to drill the hole for this guy. And voila. Now all I gotta do is take all this off and then do the shielding paint on the inside and then string it up, do the intonation, put the stickers on it if I want so it can look like the Tele Plus. But I mean, look at this, made in Mexico, Player Plus, and I mean, hopefully when I get it soldered up, it's gonna sound amazing. Now that I've got everything fits and that area that we had problems with before that I fixed, I don't know if you can see this, is now fixed. So I have the hole drilled and it's not poking through anymore. So that's good. And then I'm just going to clean the inside out here because we're going to be using the nickel based shielding paint. I urge you to always read the instructions and the warnings because this stuff is nickel and it is dangerous to breathe, it is dangerous to get on your skin. So we're going to want to use gloves, we're going to want to use a breather mask, and we're going to want to, I'm going to save this throwaway brush that I'm going to be using because I have another guitar that I'm going to do some work on, and I'm pretty sure the inside needs to be done the same way. So yeah, so I would also not be drinking stuff around this when I start this process, but for now I'm just going to off camera, I'm going to quickly clean out this area, and then I'm going to tape off everything that I'm going to be painting so that I don't get any paint anywhere on my guitar, because I don't want to have to try to clean that off. So yeah, I'll go ahead and tape this off now, and then I will come back when I have it all taped off. I got my gloves on, no holes, got my breather mask ready to go. I'm gonna make sure the cap is tight, shake it up good. I got everything taped off, just in case there's any splashes or anything or any accidents. I'm trying to tape most of the guitar, and I've cleaned out the inside pretty well. And I got all my drinks away from here, so there's nothing. And my mask is good. And I'm just gonna keep this over here. Okay, I just finished the second coat, and let's see how I did. Looks like I didn't get any on the paint, so that's nice. Looks pretty good. Fully covered. Coated in there, and then all I have to do, some of the paint came off of that. That's interesting. Anyway, all I have to do now is let this dry fully, and then I will, I'm going to, for my next guitar, I'll make sure to keep this. I rinsed it in a bucket, and it's water based, so it came off, but I'll use this only for the nickel based paint in the future. So now I'm going to go wash my hands and everything, and then let this dry, and then we'll be back to put it all together and solder it all together. I'm pretty stoked. Okay, so I bought some Craft X copper tape, and I'm going to tape off the back side of my pick guard for this build because I think that, I don't think there'll be that much RF interference, but I do have a pretty noisy household with all kinds of electronics going, and it might be nice to just make sure, just see if I can get this as quiet as possible. This stuff seems really fragile. I was watching or reading about it, and it said that this is also used to prevent snails and slugs from getting on your plants. So I suppose you put this around, the base of your planter box, and it prevents snails from climbing, or maybe it kills them, I don't know. But I just trimmed my nails, so it's quite hard to get off. Whoops. Okay, it wants to roll right back up. Oh no. So yeah, maybe the best way to do this, let's see if I can fix this. Oh, that looks terrible. Okay. Redo. Okay, so maybe the way to put this on, kind of like how you do stickers or your phone thing. Just sort of quickly show how I'm doing this. I'm putting a flat piece on, and then I'm not making it go all the way to the edge, and then I'm just taking a pretty sharp knife and just slowly cutting it off just before Okay, we're gonna put everything together now. We're gonna solder everything together. I've just got a cheap little soldering iron here. I've got a better one here, but I don't know, just gonna use the cheap one, it's real fast. First we're gonna put in this piece, the jack, and then we're gonna put in the grounding strip. So make sure you don't lose the grounding strip from when you remove it. It's important. Let's see, first things first. This can be kind of a beast to put in, so I'm gonna do it right now. Next we're going to plug in the soldering iron, get that heated up. If you don't know how to solder, then I have a video about soldering that you could watch. But safety first, wear safety goggles. Do not breathe the fumes from the solder because this has lead in it. It's more the flux that will agitate your lungs. Sometimes they have like a flux core inside of here. So what I would suggest is that you do it in a well-ventilated area, like I'm doing in an open garage. Now we're going to, so you can see I've got the piece in there, and I've removed, and you can see little drippings of solder in there. So this is why you gotta be careful with your soldering iron, because the lead will, the stuff will splatter. Okay, I'm going to mark my lace sensors so I know which pickup is which. And it goes in this way. And so I'll mark the front one. Just like that. Just put a couple little hashes on the orange wire so I know when it gets through to the other side which one is the front pickup. Yes, that's the front one. I've also marked this pickup because I'm going to want to solder a bunch of these wires together before I put them to ground. So I've marked the white one with Sharpie so that when I have this all put together I will know which is which. Well, she's done. Everything's working. I've got a few minor problems. Number one, smallest problem, is that when I placed the sticker, I didn't place the edge all the way against this thing. So if I'm trying to make a cosplay replica of Jonny Greenwood's guitar, the sticker's not in the exact right place. Secondly, I can't find the Honda sticker anywhere that has the right black and gold trim with transparency between. I can't find that anywhere, so I've reached out to a few custom decal makers to see if they can make it. And yeah, I've got it all wired up and working. I've got the Shaler S-locks on here, got the correct pickups and everything. The other problem that's very minor is you can kind of see my bridge is just, my hardtail is just slightly off, kind of closer over here than over here. So it's a little crooked looking. I'm gonna have to fix that someday, just because I want to. And the way I'll do it is I'll probably just, once I remove the strings, I'll remove this. At the same time, I'll fix the sticker, and then I'll pull this off, and then I'll fix one of the holes that's giving me troubles by filling it and then re-drilling the hole so that it's perfectly straight. But for right now, it looks really good and I'm not worried about it. The biggest problem is everything is working in the down position of the TBS tone pot. You know, here's neck, here's bridge, and then you have a series of things happening here. When it's down, this is the bridge in parallel, I believe, like a traditional humbucker. And then when you pull it up, the bridge should be, this should be like in series, and then this should be just the outside bridge pickup, I believe. But it's not working in these two positions when the tone pot is up. So I believe that I have a solder connection bad, and I'm just going to take this off, and I'm heating up my soldering iron, and we're going to get this fixed. The other thing I failed to mention was that I went ahead and worked on the intonation of the guitar. That's just messing with the fret buzz and how the strings play and the height of the pickups. That's something like a guitar luthier should do, and I don't really know what I'm doing, so I just kind of practiced by raising and lowering the little saddles here, and then, you know, playing along in certain parts of the neck and holding it and then seeing if it buzz, and then while holding it, like lifting and just slowly getting them so that they don't buzz very well. It's not perfect just yet, but I'm pretty close. So we're gonna take this off. I don't know where I messed up, but I'm assuming I messed up in here on the TBX tone pot, but it could also be something to do with these connections. I'm not sure. Hello again. So I've got this whole thing put together. It sounds awesome. It's really, really good. There's just a couple things I want to fix. If you can see, the bridge is a little bit closer on this side than this side, and I want to fix that because I think it's a bit ugly. It's not hugely noticeable, but it's a bit ugly. The other thing you can notice is I have a wire here. Why? Because I was getting ground noise from my control panel, and whenever I touched it, it went away. After thinking about it really hard, normally on guitars, when you touch the strings, any sort of hum will kind of go away. And I realized when I took apart my other guitar, I'll show you here. When I took apart this other build that I'm doing, there's a hole right here for the ground wire to come through and ground to the bridge. And this one, because it had a full plate, it wasn't grounded, so I don't know why, but I need to run a ground wire essentially from the control volume pot to the bridge here. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I want to drill the hole for the ground wire to come through here, and I've marked off a barrier so that like I know that the hole will be covered. So I'm probably going to start even just a little farther back. So I want to make sure the hole is underneath here. And so I'll mark where it is at the edge, and I'm just going to bring it even further back like that. And make sure that I'm well behind. Yeah. And then I want to make sure that when this is sitting in here, that there's plenty of room for the ground wire to come alongside. Okay, plenty of room. And I want to start with a very small drill bit because I don't want to damage the, right here I lost some of the lacquer. So I'm going to start right here. And I'm going to use the edge of the tape to try to figure the angle that I want. Just a little more forward. Again, check 100 times if you have to. And we're just going to go progressively bigger. Okay, let's glue this thing in here. So I'm going to try to get just a little glue down in there first. Come on. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to let that set, and then once it's set after 24 hours, I'm going to take these bad boys and cut it off even, and then I will put the plate back on and screw everything down so it's nice and even and tight, and then I'll drill the final hole in the proper place. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and take foil and fill these with foil, and what else can I do? I'm probably going to take the sticker and try to move it. I have a second one in case it's all fucked up, so I'll let you know how it goes. Alright, I just wanted to show that I've got the attack number 1 sticker on nice and straight, the proper way. I've got all the there's no bubbles in it, and then I've shielded all on the inside here. And now I can start putting it back together. I'm going to have to cut this, and I've got this all shielded as well, and I've got the ground wire which will go through and will attach to this. When I get the new thing drilled, I can put on the Honda sticker. This isn't the proper one, this is just all black. He has one that has black with gold trim. I couldn't find one. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be totally perfect. It's pretty nerdy already to begin with. I went on Amazon and I found some brand that had good reviews. Lots of women liked it, so I'm going to try it out. See if we can. we go. If I have to do a second coat, I will. Well, let's just see how that dries and see if that gives me a little bit of a sheen. It actually made that area a little bit darker, which I didn't want, but I'm still pretty happy. So, let's see. I've got everything grounded. I've got the grounding wire here for that. This is glued in nicely. I've got this with the grounding wire on it. I've got my grounding wires here that I will use to connect to the ground. And then I'm ready to go. I'm gonna cut this off and I'm gonna see if this works, but I'm gonna try to use something so that like I don't scar my body here. Okay, you always want to be careful when you're doing this stuff because I keep using the control panel and it keeps getting knocked around and I've scratched my surface a little bit. Hopefully I can buff that later, but just be really careful when you're moving your guitar around because dang, I've scratched it quite a bit. And that's really unfortunate because it's brand new. So I'm just going to go ahead and solder these grounds together really quick. Okay, I got it. It took some time and I had to do it off camera because I was too nervous. I got the bridge completely straight, the hardtail bridge. So I'm at 5/16 and 5/16. Spacing is perfect. Everything is set. I've got everything grounded. I got the sticker on correctly. All I gotta do now is put on this sticker, and it's gonna go about right there. I'll probably do some measurements to make sure that this is on straight as well, but probably measure from here to here. Okay, just attaching these saddles back in the order they went, and I'll have to intonate it probably still, but kind of easier to turn these on the side because the hole is on the side here. Otherwise it tends to want to strip a little bit or not go in straight, and you have the potential to strip it. So to get them started, just turn them on their side, get it started, then flip them over like that, and that way they go in nice and smooth. You can look up online how to intonate a guitar, but first you're going to want to tune everything and then get your saddle height, you know, your bridge, your nut correct, and then you want to get your saddle height correct to match the arch of your guitar. And then the last thing you do is intonate, and the way you intonate is you'll basically bar the first fret, and then where the body touches the guitar. Well, sorry, this is to check, never mind, that's to check the neck relief. But the way you intonate is you play the string if it's E, and then you bar the 12th fret and play it, and it should be an E, but an octave higher. And you can use like a chromatic tuner to do that, but sometimes you'll see when you're intonating, you're going to have to relieve or pull the tension on these saddles, because you know you'll bring an E here, it'll be tuned to E, and then when you bar it, it'll be like a D or something, or a sharp, E sharp. And what would that be, F flat? Or is there, I know there's supposed to be no sharps or flats for E, but anyway, so yeah, you're just gonna have to go back, and once you get it all tuned and you get all your neck relief right and you get everything, your nut is correct, you're going to have it all strung, and then you're going to tune all the strings to the proper tuning. And you'll play the string, like if it's E down here, you'll play the string. Let's see, I'm not even in frame. So you're going to basically play the string, and if it's E and it's tuned to E, and then you'll bar this fret and you'll play it, and if it's an E, then you're good. If it's like an E sharp, then you're going to move the saddle back or forth to get it into position. And that's it. So yeah, you'll want to look online about how to make sure your nut is correct for your strings after you've strung it. You make sure your neck relief is proper by barring the first fret, and then you bar the fret where the body, it's like the 17th fret usually, where the body meets the neck, and you'll just check along here visually to make sure there's like a business card's distance. And then you're going to set the saddles so that they match the curve of the neck. And then lastly, you're going to, once that's all done and everything's tuned, then you're going to do your intonation. And your intonation is set by these screws back here. It's making the saddles either be more forward or more backward, depending on whether you play an E and then you bar the 12th fret, and if it's still an E, you're good. If it's like a flat or a sharp, then you're going to need to move the saddle back or forth in order to get this, when it's barred on 12th fret, to be exactly an E octave higher, or or a B or a G, etc. So, but you can look that up online. So now I'm going to string this, and then I'm going to play it, and hopefully everything works.